Hello, my beautiful people. Hello, everybody. What I'm bringing you today is I'm bringing you something you cannot find on YouTube until today. Today, we got my list, in my humble opinion, my list of fighters who are extremely privileged by the UFC, or not so very, but just a little bit, enough to be on this list. In all honesty, in my opinion, again, let me say that, because some of these might be a little bit controversial for some people, but you know what? It's totally fine. It's not even the fighter's fault half the time. They're just privileged. I mean, what else is there to say about it, you know? What we're gonna do is we're gonna start from the very top, and then we're gonna make a bottom line basis of it, basically. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and add the obvious, right? Out of anyone on this list, I mean, obviously, we're gonna have to throw John Jones as the top standard privilege. I mean, what else is there to say about it? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I feel like most people understand. If you're watching this video, you kind of know why. I don't really have to explain that to you. But for less obvious reasons, and let me tell you why. Let me tell you why I put Alex Pereira down there. Comes into the UFC, gets a win, gets another win, and then gets Sean Strickland. Literally only based on the fact that he has history with the champion. I mean, okay, you're winning, but I could think of Ian Gary, who's on a 7-fight win streak, doesn't have a title shot yet. Tony Ferguson, like one of the longest win streaks and didn't get a title shot, got an interim title shot. I mean, so I might have to put him in the at the lowest standard of it, because you know, since then he's proven himself, so I get that part. You know, I'm not ignorant, but something happened to kind of, because of certain circumstances, it just leapfrogged him into a position to be able to be where he's at now. And I mean, a lot of fighters, they don't get that. They don't get that kind of love, you know. So I'm gonna go ahead and just put him at the bottom there, just because it happened. It's okay. It wasn't his fault, but he's at the bottom. All right, and now we're just gonna go down the line of fighters we got down here. Sean O'Malley. See, he had to fight quite a bit of times, but then he started getting popular and shit because of like all the basketball shit and everything he was doing after his knockouts, and the way he was knocking people out was crazy. So he started making money, right? All right, here's Peter Yan. Okay. Okay. And then he becomes champion later. And instead of taking like a real fight as a champion to defend his belt, he picks and chooses Marlon Chito Vera. Like, well, like, what are we talking about? Where did that come from? Because you got that loss? I would have waited for him. You're past that. Who cares? You're champion. I would have literally let Chito Vera win one more before I looked at him. But because of the history shit, and because he's champion now and he makes money, he just gets to just choose who the fuck he fights. I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy in my opinion. Where do I put him on this list? I wouldn't say John Jones level, right? I wouldn't even put him just barely above Alex Pereira. I mean, you gotta say he's kind of like the middle standard, right? Kind of like the middle standard, I would think. I think this sounds about right. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and put him there. Sounds good. Jorge Masvidal. See, that one's tricky, okay? Because there's quite a bit of things here. All right, so first of all, let's just lay out the biggest one for me right now in this current situation. He's the second. He still has 3 fights left on his UFC contract, and he's out here boxing. Who the fuck else got to do that besides Conor? What are we talking about? What is going on here? That's the first thing. The second thing I would say is, I don't know. Maybe, now this may be a conspiracy theory. This may be a conspiracy theory, but since he lost his title fight against Kamaru Usman, right? What if they created the BMF belt just for him, so he can have something to promote? Think about it. I mean, just a thought. Just a thought. I mean, obviously they held that flying knee to a very high standard, because that's crazy how the BMS title even came about, and then now it just extended on to a whole bunch of other things, but it started with Jorge Masvidal and that current situation with him in that whole title situation, because he wasn't beating Usman. Nobody was at that time, until he got his brain rattled accidentally at the end, and he's been looking kind of wild ever since. So that, and I mean what else is there to be said about it? I mean, he got 1 title shot. He was on a really big win streak and didn't start getting that stuff until he was like actually popular and making money. So do I think he's any more or less privileged than Sean O'Malley? That's the question. Well, Sean O'Malley's just starting, and he's actually champion, and he's just like getting started, so I'm sure he'll be allowed to box pretty soon. And then we'll be talking about him being allowed to box just like Jorge was. This one's tough. My humble opinion. Very humble, very humble opinion. I'm gonna lay it like this. If I have multiple reasons for it, you're gonna be B or higher on my list. If I only have one reason, C or D is gonna depend on how strong the reason is. That's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna go, I'd say so. Just about, if not just a little more, but not enough to go a whole nother, you know? I think that's fair. Israel Adesanya. I mean, what the hell, dude? Infinite title shots? What else is there to be talked about? I mean, I understand, like one of the most dominant champions in the division ever. I mean, I get that. One of the greatest MMA fighters ever. Come on. That's the same reason John Jones is where he's at, though. Like, regardless of whether or not they did anything important or awesome, they get privilege. And that's what this list is about. So A. A for me. A for me. Not the most, but way up there. Way up there. They love this guy over there. That's for sure. I feel like if you're kind of like S or A ranked on my list, I don't really have to explain much about it. Most people understand why. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put him there. All right, next is Tony Ferguson. So look, based on what I was talking about before, when I was talking about win streakers not getting their title shots, I mean, okay, he got kind of screwed there, right? How are you on a fucking 7-fight losing streak and still in the UFC? It's fucking 7, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 losing streak, and you're still in the UFC, getting high-profile fights. Getting high-profile fights. Like that's just unbelievable. That literally has to be only because he makes money. I mean, come on. That literally only has to be because he makes money. There's no other reason. I mean, okay, he's exciting in the cage for sure, but no one wants to see that anymore. I get he still has fights on his contract. Cut him. Cut him. Let him hurt himself somewhere else. I don't want to see it anymore. I just don't want to see it anymore. It's okay. You were great once upon a time, but just in case you changed it for you, bud. Beat your fucking ass that one fight, and all of a sudden it just fucked up everything for you. It's okay. It's totally fine. It's totally fine. But that's the only thing I got. That's the only thing I got. And honestly, that's a huge thing. He should have been cut. He should have been cut like 2 fights ago. And he's scheduled for another one. So you know what? That's worse than Pereira. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if that's privilege or if they're just like they just want him to hurt. They just want to see him get beat up. There can't be any other reason. I'm gonna have to put him there, bro. I mean, that's huge. That's huge in my opinion. Big reason. All right, this next one. This isn't specifically Shara Bullet, okay? This is every fucking Dagestani fighter. That's what this is. That's what this is. That's what this fucking dude represents, because he looks like a pirate and literally looks like the kind of standard, I'd say. So I'm gonna go ahead and put him up there with John Jones, because what are we doing with these Dagestani fighters right now? What are we doing? These unranked fighters getting #1 contender fights and fucking people getting title shots from fucking rank 12 and shit. I mean, I get it, Usyk got a shot, but they feel the same way about Australians, I think, in my opinion. But come on with these Dagestani fighters, bro. What are we talking about? Because I'm not really seeing the appeal here. Yeah, they wrestle, yeah, they win a lot, but like, yeah, he wants another Khabib. Is that, I don't understand. The amount of privilege he has for that whole group of fighters is uncanny. It's uncanny. Uncanny. Not understanding it. So I'm gonna go ahead and put him up there. Way up there. Way up there. Conor McGregor. I mean, Conor McGregor. I bet if you hop on a game of Fortnite right now and you just go into the fucking game chat, a bunch of like 3-year-olds in there. You guys know who Conor McGregor is? Oh yeah, I know who that is. You've been living under a rock or something? Like, come on, bro. Come on, bro. I don't even think it needs to be said. Like I said before, I don't even think I need to explain it when they're ranked this high. Because everybody knows. I mean, like I said, whether they earned it or they did not, they still are privileged. Regardless. This list is how privileged are they? So, way up there. Colby Covington? Donald Trump's favorite fighter? Why wasn't he in that Secret Service situation? You would think his favorite fighter would be in the Secret Service situation. Probably would have been better than that chick that was shorter than him. Sheesh. 3 title fights, loses them all. He's boring as fuck. Literally just annoying as fucking mean. And he gets everything he's asking for. Sits out for fucking... I forgot how long it was. Was it 2 years? Sits out forever. And just gets a title fight. Like, what the... Who the fuck are you? What are we talking about? Fuck no. You are awful. And boring. And annoying. You're not even that mean in person. Like, what are you so mad about? Way up there. Nothing else to be talked about. Cyril gone. This whole thing he's doing, I'm not gonna say he's privileged by the UFC per se, but what I'm gonna say is he just acts privileged. That's his thing. He just acts privileged. I don't know if he's privileged by the UFC, but he's definitely privileged by someone. He acts like he's owed something. We owe him something. For what? You beat Tai Tuivasa? That has not aged well. Interim champion, I think, but he was champion. And then we saw how well you defended that, so... I don't know why you're offered a fight against Tom Aspinall and you turn it down because you're making a movie, and then now you're scheduled to fight again against Volkov. And you're not gonna fight in Paris. Like, there's just multiple things. Why are you acting so privileged? Like, what's going on here? Just because he's not privileged by the UFC and he's just acting privileged, I can't really put him that high on the list. Because I feel like that's... If you're privileged by the UFC, that like trumps most things. But he acts more privileged than Pereira actually is. So I'm gonna go ahead and put him right there, because I think it's just as bad as the Tony Ferguson situation. That's what I'm gonna do with that. That's what I'm gonna do. Now, Michael Chandler. Let me just double check on something right quick. Michael Chandler. Joins the UFC. Okay. He beat Dan Hooker. Okay. Dan Hooker's old now. Kind of on the way out. Not really looking as great as he was. That didn't really age too well, in my opinion. Loses to Okay, first of all, the title shot he got after beating Dan fucking Hooker. What is that? First of all. Second of all, he loses to Gaethje, beats Ferguson. That didn't age well either. Loses to Poirier. And he gets a fucking fight with Conor McGregor. Like literally the biggest payday of this dude's fucking life to change his life forever. After what? A fucking win against Dan Hooker and Tony Ferguson? What the fuck? Okay, I get it. Exciting fights like we talked about. But this is where money comes into play, right? Where he's only getting a fight like this, a life-changing fight like this, because he gets beat up a lot in high-profile fights. Like, let's be honest, he's getting fucking beat up. And he gets beat up nice. You get beat up real nice, guy. We're gonna go ahead and give you a fucking multi-million-dollar payday. Go get beat up some more for us. That's crazy. That's crazy. I'm gonna fucking... That's A or B. That's A or B territory for me. Cause that's he ain't been here that long, and has been losing, and he's getting paid for this McGregor fight, and he's waiting for it because he knows it. Holy shit. But like I said, if you have multiple reasons, I can find like 2 in there. Is he, okay, the question I want to ask myself, is he more or less privileged than Jorge Masvidal? I'm gonna say more, because he's privileged by the UFC and he acts privileged. Like he's earned the ability to wait, because he's fucking lost 3 times in his last 4 fights, and his only win was against Tony Ferguson. He earned this. I get beat up real nice. No, I'm gonna go ahead and put you at A tier, privilege. And then my guy Bo Nickel, the new homie on the block. UFC 300. I think he's had like 3 fights in the UFC. Well, 4, I mean 3 at that point. Let me just look at his fucking record. Yeah, he had 2 fights in the UFC. And then went to UFC 300. Because he was already making money. He looked good in the Contender Series. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He is 6-0. And he only fought 1 pro fight before he went to the fucking Contender Series because of his wrestling credentials. Literally, because of underlining circumstances, dude was in the situation he was in and made so much fucking money because he just generates a different kind of fan base that gets him paid now. This dude is a phenomenon at 6-0. It's crazy. I guarantee he can ask for any opponent and they will give him to them. The only reason he hasn't gotten higher because he hasn't asked for it. But I guarantee if he asked for it, it's a wrap. He didn't even have to fight Cody Brundage after his 2 wins. He could have asked for a fucking ranked 7 opponent. Instead, he asked for an unranked opponent and they gave him Cody Brundage. Someone he knew he was gonna wash. Just to keep let him practice, let him stay relevant, let him keep making us money, and get the fuck, bro. A-tier privilege. A-tier privilege. We got nothing left to talk about. We got nothing left to talk about. There's my list. There's my list right there. Now you may agree with me, you may not. Honestly, I don't care. This is my personal opinion. But this is a pretty solid list in my opinion. Looks pretty good to me. So how about you guys tell me what you think? Did I miss anyone? Did you want to add someone to this list? Do you think I'm just totally wrong? I mean, that's your opinion and this is mine. So please like, share this video, subscribe, and we gonna be back. Oh, we gonna be back and we ain't going nowhere. So I'll catch y'all on the next one. Dose.